Thank you again for joining me on this podcast that will be going live on all the social media channels that we've spoken about. And yeah, the reason why I wanted to speak to you is the amazing work that I've seen so far that you and the company you work for is doing around sustainability. And today is about finding out a little bit more. It's such a hot topic, such a buzzword. We hear all sorts of things linked with sustainability, and then very quickly after comes the word greenwashing. So I really want to kind of clean up all of those areas of what can be done, what you guys are doing, and spread the word of what each of us can do in making the world a little bit more sustainable step by step. So if we start with telling me a little bit about the company you work for right now, ACS, the journey so far, and also what are the kind of immediate plans for the company and what you guys are working on specifically?
So we were founded in 1997, and we were born into a circular fashion model, and that was in Scotland, in the UK. There's a lot of higher men's formal hire wear, and the reason is it's not used that often. It's very expensive, and it makes sense to rent something. So, like a kilt outfit, you'd be over £1,000 to buy it. You can rent it for less than £100,
Wow.
depending on the items. So it's a no-brainer, and every time you'll get a brand new looking outfit. From there, we grew into men's formal wear. We then moved into women's wear, children's wear, babies wear, outdoor wear. And we've also taken the rental model and we're now looking at a resale model. So we're investing in resale. And one of the really exciting projects right now is actually working with North Face and all their returns from customers, factory misfits, items that are being rejected. We get and we make new outfits. And these new outdoor wear are actually sold in their site. So we repair them, we clean them, we sanitize them, we store them in behalf, and we ship and pack them to their customers. So there's it's a new model, and what we're also doing is we work with eBay as well. So we've got our own eBay store, but we get a lot of items from our customers, and we resell them on the store and other platforms as well. Another interesting area, and we just started dabbling in, is actually on life jackets. And what we do is we recycle life jackets. And it's quite an odd relationship, but we started working with the government. We do a lot with refugees, and it was a lot of dots in between. But eventually, we spoke with somebody, said, "Would you look at recycling our life jackets because right now they're being incinerated?" So the people crossing the channel, what happens is there's a huge mountain of life jackets. Periodically, a trailer comes in, they pick them all up, and they take them away for incineration. We're now disassembling them and selling on the materials to be reused. So that's just something of interest. The big project I'm working on right now is shoe recycling. And I can hit you with horrific statistics about shoe recycling. But what we're looking at doing is setting up a plant that will recycle shoes into their constituent parts, bring them back into the industry where we can, but move them onto other industries where we can. And we've got identified equipment that we can use, and we're at the point putting together a feasibility study, which will include a business plan to attract funding. You could be talking upwards of £10 million investment in this facility, and we're really excited about it. And we're looking to close the loop in terms of in our model.
Right.
So in a nutshell, that's where we are right now as a business. That's where we're going. It's very, very exciting times for us.
Yeah, so much going on. I love the fact of all the collaborations, because I think to make anything work is to reach out to partners and understand how far your reach can go. It's about, having people understand a recognizable platform or brands such as, like you've mentioned, eBay, North Face. And I love the kind of sentiment behind the life jackets. I think that storytelling, as well as doing the priorities, circular fashion, giving back, but the fact of, the journey of that life jacket and then being able to bring it to something new. And it kind of comes full circle with the journey of giving it a new life, because those people that are doing that very journey with a life jacket are hoping for that as well. So I absolutely love that. I think super important and brilliant that you're part of that. I really look forward to seeing how far that goes. I think it's brilliant.
Garments at their end of life as well, the end of their rental life. We're actually working with a charity right now that works with the UK government and actually clothes migrants who arrive in our country. And we're looking to support them, not just from our company, but other companies as well. So we're quite excited about that. So not only are we, the social impact aspects of it, but we're increasing the use of these garments. We're not recycling them, we're reusing them, extending the life, maximize the use of them.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I think it's so important. And, like I said, when we kind of had a bit of a pre-talk, you and I, before we hit record, there's so much going on about circular fashion, sustainability, and what it actually means, because it is a word that is being thrown around a lot. And to actually have something tangible and hear what is actually being done is so refreshing. And it's like, yeah, I get it. I know what can be done, what is being done. It makes it real, basically. So really good to hear about that. And yeah, really inspiring as well. I think it's brilliant. So some of the work that I and one of the reasons why I contacted you was I've seen a lot of work and collaboration again with students. And I love that. I personally, it's something that I'm looking to do more and more of. I believe it's about giving back. And we were all at a position where we enter, whether it's this industry or another, we were all at a starting point at some point. So you know what that feels like. So why is it that you do so much work with students, and what is it that you kind of think that the investment is going to pay off with? Can you tell me a little bit more about the reason why you work with students and what you're hoping for long-term vision that will kind of give back?
So when we say we work with students, we work with school pupils from primary and secondary school, and we work with students from colleges. We work with students in universities, undergraduates, postgraduates, so people working on not just an ordinary degree, but master students and PhD students. And the whole purpose of this is, one, as part of a talent pipeline. So we attract the best individuals, we bring them in. People, when I say best individuals, I'm not talking about people that maybe have the best CVs, but individuals that are passionate about what we're about, passionate about sustainability, passionate about the fashion industry, understand a lot of the challenges, want to be part of the solution. And with those individuals, we bring them into our family. We give them opportunities in various ways that we interact. So it can be student placements. So we bring people in and we give them a role within the company, and they work with us for a period of time. It could be projects that we bring in, so giving projects to students. It can be major projects like a fashion show that we're doing right now, an inclusive fashion show, where we're working with student fashion designers and pairing them up with someone with a disability and ask them to look at a sustainable solution that meets that individual's needs. Not just their need to clothe them, but a need of functional wear that makes them feel good about themselves. How best can fashion designers, help that community? Another project that we were working in, was we actually, through Glasgow Caledonian University, we made links with a French business school called EDHEC. And they came in and they researched our company, all the different students, the academics, and they created a case study on sustainable fashion. And they invited us over to France, and these students worked through the case study and they looked at ways that we could expand our circular operation into Europe and what that would take. And they presented overviews of their business plan. We got the opportunity to interview them. And what it gave them was a real life sustainable business model to play around with. That case study is now going to be used by other students all over Europe, including the UK. So it'll be open to them. And Glasgow Caledonian University are going to be doing it soon. The students, it was actually a competition. The students who provided the best case are actually come to work with SAS on a secondment for 2 weeks. So they're going to come in, and they're also going to get to present to our board and investors on their idea, to share what their idea was. And we've already shared that, but they'll get to actually, so it'll be a real live sort of Dragon's Den. That's really interesting. Other things that we've done is the SDGs, Sustainability Development Goals. We worked with the schools, local schools, and what we asked them to do was to pick one sustainability development goal, research it. Then they came in and they spoke with us, and they interviewed us, and we gave them a tour and showed them that sustainability development goal in operation of our business. And then what they did was they came up with ideas and presented their ideas to us. We gave them feedback, and then we brought all the schools together and had a big conference. And then what we did is we invited the selection of the pupils involved to our work, and we had Princess Anne on site, and they got to meet Princess Anne. We gave a plaque to each of the schools that were involved. We had some singing as well. Some of the primary school kids. The primary school kids were absolutely incredible. The level of creativity was just enormous, and the ideas they came up with and the passion, you honestly, you fed off it. Was incredible. So so these are some of the examples of what we do. We do a lot more. We sponsor people. We do that. We sponsor fashion shows, etc. We're really open to ideas. We do things like the Knowledge Transfer Partnership, which is run by Innovate UK. We've actually had 2 KTPs. We sponsor, PhD. We're creating a virtual model, a digital twin of our facility, with a view to analysing the productivity, analysing the sustainable impact, looking at the ergonomics of operators, all in a digital environment. We've got a PhD student doing that. We've also got a PhD student working on a social impact project, looking at the welfare of our staff. It was sponsored by Medical Research Scotland, so they're working with us for 3.5 years on that project. So they're doing like an MOT of each of our staff and looking at ways that we can improve our mental and physical health. So there's some of the projects. There's, we're forever, in fact, it's a week on Friday. I have over 100 international master students coming on site for a conference. So they're spending the day with us. And what we're doing is going through the B Corp model, social impact model. So we give them a tour of the facility. We break them into groups because there's a lot of people. And then what we do is we give them different exercises, brainstorming sessions. Now, this isn't a one-off. This is the 3rd year in a row that we've done it with Strathclyde University. We do the same with Glasgow Caledonian University as well. We've even done projects like, so we had quite an ugly building. It was a sanitisation chamber, and we got one of the local colleges, New College Lanarkshire, to come in, and their creative students came in and did some really wonderful, they came up with examples and created a wonderful graffiti of it, and all about the ozone process that we do. So they did that. The other thing that we did during COP26, because it was in Glasgow and that's our closest city, we actually had nearly 1,000 students visited the site and went to a conference, and all talking about sustainable fashion. So we did a lot of things about helping them understand more about the fashion industry, understand what they could do, gave them some basic repair skills of garments so that they could prolong the life of their garments. We had a conference, we had a local student fashion designers did a show of some of their designs as well. It was absolutely fantastic. It went down really well. So we've done a lot over the years. We're looking to build in that. We keep increasing and having a bigger impact all the time. The reason we do it is we want to try and change people's views of the industry and educate them about the harm that happens in the industry, both to communities and also to the environment, but also share with them the hope. It can't always be doom and gloom. And we show them our business model and show them other business models at work that are sustainable and have a very positive impact on both in the environment and work with communities. We take them through things like social impact, the work that we do with refugees, people with disabilities, people who are disadvantaged in community that people look at differently and have got very strong perceptions about that are wrong. And we look at ways that you can actually involve them and create meaningful employment for them. So we involve young people in that as well. We do modern apprenticeships, graduate apprenticeships, we do internships, we do a foundation apprenticeship right now. We work with the Prince's Foundation, the Prince's Trust. We work with developing the young workforce. We work with Youth Enterprise Scotland. We work with lots of different organisations and provide these placements. So they're structured placements with qualifications. The foundation apprenticeship we're doing right now has just been launched. It was designed by the UKFT. We had input to it, a few of the modules around our business about circular fashion. And we've actually got 8 students or 8 placements from the Prince's Trust. They're in learning about our business and they're going through this programme, and they're lined up with a vocational qualification, internationally recognised qualification over a 3-week period. And if they like what they see, they'll be then being able to transition into a modern apprenticeship. So these are individuals that are not in mainstream education, that have had issues over the years and need a wee bit of help and support and encouragement. And that's what we're doing.
I love that. I think it's amazing. I looked at what you guys do, and when I started that question, it was students, and it's so broad. Excuse me, but looking at exactly what it is and the layers and layers and layers that you give back is amazing. And I think one thing that I took from when you were talking just now is giving back, and also the sentiment of educating people in this industry that no matter what realm they've come from, that there is, I think the best way of putting it is the good, the bad, the ugly. You said it's not all doom and gloom. It's about, okay, let's recognize what's going on, but how do we turn that into a positive? And giving people the skills and the knowledge to be able to do that. I think that is ultimately, what we all need. You have an awareness, like I said at the top, we hear these words, but we don't really know what they mean. And it's, okay, how can we, as people, do our bit to give back, to make sure that we don't continue down certain routes or whatever it may be. But I love the fact that not only can you teach, but you can be taught. And I think when you speak to somebody that totally recognizes that we never stop learning, you might invite students in whatever, like I said, whatever realm that looks like, to educate them. But I think if you're open-minded as a business, as an individual, that you'll always learn from people as well. I love that, because I think it is full circle, and there's so much we can learn from the next generation, from people that have firsthand, this is how we live, how do we do better, how do we make those changes. I think that's ultimately what it's all about. So kind of with that being said, one of the other questions that I wanted to find out is, I think kind of a nice link to that is, what role can consumers play in driving the demand for sustainable fashion? When you think about that, what is it we can do a little bit better as a consumer?
It's the big thing about it is, if you are consuming fast fashion, what you're doing is you're part of the problem. And it's understanding that, and it's about educating consumers about the harm that is happening, and that is quite horrific. And I don't think the amount of water that's being consumed, the chemicals that are ending up in water that people are drinking and bathing in and being used for the processing of food. The other thing as well is slave labour, the poor wages, the poor working conditions. And this isn't all happening in other countries. It's also happening in the UK. And you just have to type in fashion industry in Leicester, and every 3-4 years there's a horrific article on what's actually happening in that area. So the thing about it is, we do all want choices, but those choices come at a price. And if you embrace sustainability, the more that people move to sustainable solutions, the more the price comes down, the more the variety increases. There has to be a transition. And the thing is, there has to be an acknowledgement by consumers of the harm that's happening with their choices, and to be aware of it. Because something's low priced, there is a rationale for that. There is a reason why it's so cheap. What I would say to you is, it's actually cheaper to buy a new item for a lot of some of the garments that we have than to repair them, because companies who are sustainable pay at least the real living wage. They have got, train their people, look after their people in other ways, and that comes at a cost. And that cost isn't consumed in things like fast fashion. So there isn't a level playing field when we are competing with our circular business solutions. If you rented an item, you might, you're actually supporting the sustainable fashion industry. When you buy a used item, what you're doing is you're stopping the consumption of natural resources and the exploitation of certain communities. That's what's happening when you're doing that. And the thing about it is that from a consumer perspective, we can't carry on down the road we're going. We're consuming too much. There isn't enough natural resources to meet the future demand. There were horrific things saying that we need another planet's worth of resources to meet the demand that they were projecting for fast fashion by the end of this decade. So what I would say to consumers is that please think twice before you buy an item. And the thing about it is that if you change your buying habits, and these large organizations will adapt, and they will then look to invest in more sustainable solutions. You have got the power to change the industry, and it can be done. And
I think that's exactly it. Coming from many big platforms, you are dictated to, you are driven by, and every decision you make as a buyer in my career was because of the consumer behavior. So yeah, I think that's so important. Some consumers may say, oh, how can I be part of the change? It's exactly that. Have a more considered approach to, do I really need that? Do I need to buy as frequent, or could I buy that one thing that may do the same job? It's literally trying to translate and be more considered about your approach towards fashion, because you're exactly right. And I've been, at the forefront of that many, many times in my career. We are completely dictated to by the consumer. So yeah, when anybody says, oh, how can I make a change? I'm just one person. It's exactly that. You are the change. So I think it's really important for people to know that they can be part of a bigger picture and they can make the change. So yeah, I think that's super important. Super, super important. Yeah, one other thing that I know kind of comes a little bit after, consumer change and everything like that. Is there anything that you're aware of and or excited about that's happening in the industry? So, for example, any emerging materials or production techniques that are happening that you're aware of that might be interesting for people to know about?
Well, there's a lot happening in the industry, but the biggest thing that excites me right now is extended producer responsibility, which is legislation being implemented in the European Union. And that legislation will go global over a period of time, and that will change the behaviours of large enterprises. It means that basically they need to adapt to more sustainable models in order to, basically not just compete, but to operate. So that's the most exciting thing for me. But next to that, there is a lot of new technologies. There is a move away from, I think the other day there I was in a workshop, and they were talking about that nearly over 70% of all garments have crude oil in them that are actually originally from crude oil. So there's a lot more being done on sustainable, man-made materials. So there's a lot more happening in that particular area, which excites me. There's a lot more being done in terms of using natural materials as well, and designing for sustainability. for designing for end of life that will help. So one of the complexities right now is that there's so many blends. I mean, some people for marketing purposes will put in 5% of this garment is made from British wool. It doesn't serve any purpose. It's purely just to, add and enhance the product. So there's a lot more being done in terms of the manufacture and taking into account end of life. The other thing as well is that a lot more fashion designers are becoming more sustainably oriented and understanding more and designing garments that can last, designing garments that are, taking into account end of life, designing garments that can be rented, designing garments that can be reused. There's a lot more looking at ways in which we can upcycle garments, that we can prolong the life and repurpose textiles as well. There's a lot of new technologies coming out. I mean, we're looking at shoe recycling right now. There's a machine where you put the shoe in one end and it comes out in its constituent parts, all separated at the other. And that's the truth. And it's absolutely incredible machine. And we're looking at investing in that. And that's nearly £10 million investment to get that up and running. So we're looking at that. So that really excites me as well, the technology side of it. There's a lot going on about really clever solutions that can do things like be able to identify what a garment is made of by taking a test. There's a lot more in terms of automation coming in that can reduce the burden on individuals, in terms of the handling. The other things that I would say in terms of technologies, the textile care, we, looking at the mass production, we do things like using technologies like ozone gas. It's a biocide that kills off pathogens, gets rid of odors in garments. But we're also looking at maybe possible solutions where every time you wash a garment or clean a garment, you can wash the garment either in laundry, you can wet wash it, or you can use a sort of dry cleaning techniques. Dry cleaning being cleaning the garment in the absence of water, but using other liquids. It could be a liquid carbon dioxide, alcohol, could be a hydrocarbon. So there's different than the classic ones, PERC. So there's a lot that's happening there, and we're actually looking at using nanotechnology to actually applying nanotechnology to actually clean garments in a tunnel. So you just put them in a hanger and they go in one end, you condition the garment, you sanitize the garment, you clean the garment, and you take the creases out the garment, and the garment coming out the other end is ready to be reused. But the beauty of it is that the textiles care for, the fibers and the textiles care for. Because if you put it in a wash machine, there's a thermal action happening to the fibers that damage them. And that damage reduces the lifespan of them. With this, it's a natural thing. Steam is just natural. If you put your garment near a shower, when, say, you're staying overnight in a hotel, it naturally takes out the creases out of it. Well, you can actually sanitize it that way as well. We introduced, by the way, our laundry system, we wash in laundry with fizzy water. So the fizzy water's got ozone in it. So it's a fizzy, ozonated water. And what it does is it reduces the temperature of the water we use, it reduces the amount of water, and reduces all the chemicals. So some really, really exciting things happening out there. So that's how you would care for your garment. I've talked a bit about the design. I've talked about end of life. So there's lots of things there. There's even garments that you don't need to clean. Very expensive, but there's techniques in that are now coming out. There's garments that won't stain. So there's a coating that you can actually put on a garment and it won't stain that garment. And there's also 3D printing that is coming out now as well, where you can actually, so if you think about it, you wake up in the morning, you think, what am I going to wear today? You're having your cornflakes or whatever else that you have for breakfast, and your coffee, you press a button, say, I would like to wear I'll have, a red outfit, and you press the button, and then you go up to your room and it's printed out and you can actually put it on. These things are all happening. Then you've got all the things about, the other thing as well is looking at interactive technologies where you can actually create a sort of virtual model of yourself, and you can look at different outfits and you'll get expert about what suits your body shape, your looks, how the image that you want to project. So all that artificial intelligence is coming in as well to make a greater experience for you in terms of your enjoyment of garments and wearing clothes. So there is so much happening. And in
There's
fact,
a massive amount happening. I think that's what's exciting and often not available for, the average person to understand what is going on. And, I keep referring back to the word that is used, but not having anything really to understand it more. And I think throughout today, this short period of time, I hope that whoever listens to this really, really gains knowledge. I know I have, and I've, worked in the industry for 18, 19 years. And what I've learned in the last 30 minutes, I wasn't aware of. So to be able to sit here and find out and feel, fulfilled myself and like, oh God, yeah, that's exciting. I can't wait for that to come to fruition. Or, okay, I can go and do my little bit. I can help towards the greater need. I think it makes you feel good about yourself that, this is going on and we're not just these huge consumers that are ruining the planet for ourselves. We can make a difference. And I think that is something and a really strong sentiment to walk away with, and to be able to hear that all the brilliant things that are being done and for good cause. It's not just to tick a box. It's truly with good cause and with a really positive mindset. And I love that. I think it's so, so important. So thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. I've more than enjoyed all of the topics that we've gone through. And yeah, I feel like I need to go away, listen to this a few times and really, enjoy what we've discussed today, because I think there's so much. I truly feel so much more equipped than I did, 35 minutes ago, which is a really great thing to say. So thank you. Appreciate your time.
You're very welcome, Claire. Thank you very much.
Thank you.